Hello. So, we're back for Mario RPG Part 2. And yeah, we'll basically just pick up where we left off. So we had saved at Tadpole Pond, and our next kind of major section of the game is going to Rosetown, where we will get our next party member. So, let's do it. So I don't think we need anything else from the shops here at Tadpole Pond. I think we had those pretty well covered at the end of last time. So, yeah, go to Rose Way here. Alright, that's helpful. So, yeah, this is just a little puzzle to get all the items. Here, that recovery mushroom, I think I'll leave in case, just in case we happen to be in this exact spot when we need it later. And this one, yeah, that just does that, so. I think this is the first time Mario's gotten to use his knock-knock shell as his weapon. That one. And Mallow gets to use his froggy stick, which actually did, for Mallow, pretty decent damage. And he got an attack up out of it. Keep screwing up the timing. Is that just back where we started? I think it is. I know there's a few different paths in Rose Way here. There we go, there's a time block. It's that one. One needs a little HP boost here. Regular jump. I didn't take it out. Get the Mario. I forget what accessories they have. I think Mario might still have the antidote pin on. knows why that Venom drool didn't do anything. Yeah, let's check our equipment and stuff. Yeah, Mario has the antidote pin. It'll be good when we get character number 3, we'll have a full party. It actually is a little bit annoying at the beginning of the game, like certainly at the very beginning when you only have one character, Mario. You know, you want to have at least one support, but really having the full complement of characters at once is a good thing to have. Mallow does not have an antidote pin on, so that did poison him. But I don't think he lost any HP before we ended the battle, so... Oh, there's a recovery mushroom right there. Nice. Alright, so it turns out this is actually the path we're supposed to be on, so, that was actually refill. Cool. Yeah, so let's check that northern path that we kind of went past the first time here. I think. Went that way already. We may just need to, like, back out of the hole. Yeah. Let's just reset everything. There we go. Come on. Where's it? Alright, got the battle. Yeah, can we actually get on this thing from there? Doom Reaver move that Mallow got affected by. I believe that is a silence effect. Okay, so got on that one. There we go. Probably. That was probably worth the effort there. Alright, so the other way you can kind of see the little beginning of it. Basically, we want to see a little cutscene with Bowser and his army, and then we'll carry on to Rose Town itself. It's always pretty good to once again flowers. Actually check the experience levels too. Status, there we go. 25 and 30. Okay, not too far, I guess, from the next level. Let's just get off and grab that. So I actually do have one correction from the last episode to make here. I know I didn't really do much of an intro this episode, so I actually intended to say this at the beginning and didn't. Probably 10 minutes in. But, yeah, for whatever reason last week, when I did part 1 of this game, I kept saying this was 95 that it came out. This was actually a 1996 release. So fairly late in the life cycle of the Super Nintendo, obviously. PlayStation 1 was already out by that point, and of course, notably, that means that this was only around a year or so from when Final Fantasy VII came out on PlayStation 1. That came out, incidentally, on my 14th birthday, 9/7/97. That's notable because this was, of course, a collaboration between Nintendo and Square. Really, this was a Square production with Nintendo characters and input from Nintendo staff. But really, this is a Square game for all intents and purposes, Squaresoft. But when they decided to go to PlayStation for Final Fantasy VII, the relationship between Square and Nintendo kind of soured, and they were kind of on the outs, really, until the GameCube era and Game Boy Advance era, when Square started to put games out on Nintendo systems again. But yeah, Nintendo apparently took it kind of personally. That not letting me get over there. Yeah, they apparently kind of took it personal that Square jumped ship, not putting Final Fantasy VII on Nintendo 64 and instead going to PlayStation, which is certainly understandable because Nintendo had kind of going with cartridges for the Nintendo 64 instead of CDs was a bad decision. I don't think there's any other real way to look at it. Certainly any system is only as good as the games that are on it, and Nintendo 64 had some great classic games on it. So not to disparage the system in terms of the enjoyment you can get out of it, but technologically speaking and business-wise, it was not a good decision to go with cartridges because that was the wave of the future at that point, to go to CDs, and the Nintendo 64 cartridges just didn't have the storage capacity for games like Final Fantasy VII the company started to want to put out at that point. Physically, it couldn't happen. They could not do Final Fantasy VII as it existed on a Nintendo 64 due to the cartridges. So yeah, I don't really see that Square had any other choice at that point. Why is this not letting me get over there now? Have to go to the top thing first? But it did kind of put a sour note on the relationship between the two companies. It lasted for a little while, right up until, again, the Game Boy Advance, when some reissues of Final Fantasy, Nintendo and Super Nintendo Final Fantasy games, NES, Super Nintendo Final Fantasy games started coming out. And, some original properties. I think was there a Final Fantasy like Warriors of Light? I know there were no mainstream or mainline Final Fantasy games on GameCube, but I think there was it Crystal Chronicles or one of those? There was like a spin-off on that system. Okay. Alright, so that's not that block. What am I doing wrong here? Okay, so... Got over there with no problem before. What's the issue here? This is embarrassing to have to look up a player's guide, but I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. Why it's not letting me get over there. First time through the lagoon, you won't be able to get all the coins. Simply head through the upper right-hand exit, circle around. This time, in return, this time the platforms will take you to the part of the lagoon you missed before. Okay, so I guess we have to go through the upper right-hand exit first. That's still the wrong one. Incidentally, I was just playing some of the, just for fun, just to have something to put on for a while. Last night I was playing the Pixel Remaster of Final Fantasy V, and I was doing the fire ship dungeon. Oh my god, the layout of that thing, it's like... This is seemingly from the same maker, I doubt it is, but yeah, what's the issue? Yeah, that's one of the things that kind of holds, like, I love the job system in Final Fantasy V, but some of the dungeon design is not particularly good in that. A lot of it's fine, most of it's probably fine, but yeah, there's a couple of dungeons in Final Fantasy V. The fire ship is one, and then the pyramid where they take Glenna out of your party for no real good reason. So you're down to 3 characters. That's another one. Yeah, there's just a few dungeons that really kind of hold that one back from being one of my favorite Final Fantasies. It's still in the top 5, but I think it is like number 5 on my top 5 favorite Final Fantasy games, along with 6, 7, 4, and 9. It will be after those 4, definitely. And I'm also not a huge fan of bards or bots as a main character. I think he's a little bit of a weak main character compared to, like, Cecil in Final Fantasy IV, or Terra in Celeste, and whoever else you might consider a main character in 6. Or Cloud, or, any of those. Like, the other characters in 5 are fine. And especially Galuf and Barris, I would say, have good backstories. Kryl is kind of, the last-minute replacement for Galuf after his part in the story ends. But, yeah, I think Bartz is kind of a weak main character overall. And again, there's a few, like, bad dungeon designs in 5, so that really kind of holds it back. Like, any higher than the number 5 spot, I might top 5 or top 10. And depending on my mood, I might even rank it below number 1 in the first Final Fantasy. Because I've had a lot of fun with that one over the years, so I might well be tempted to, when I finalize my top 10 list of the first 10 Final Fantasy games. I think I have, like, I think I have 5 in the number 5 spot, but I might actually drop it down to 6 and put number 1 in that spot. Drop 5 down to the number 6 spot. But, I don't know, we'll see whenever I actually get a chance to do that. Get that guy out first, because he's very likely to try to run away. Yeah, actually, Final Fantasy V is the only one of the pixel remasters of the first 6 games that I've not played through yet. I've done the pixel remaster version of all of the other games. Bad pixel remaster versions. So, might as well complete the set, right? Alloys level up. Get all of these chests again. Yeah, I ran away before I could even move. Yeah, might as well clear out all the enemies too, right? Alright. Alright, so here's a little cutscene. Bowser. Alright, people, form ranks. It's funny, I still kind of hear Bowser's voice as, like, and the same goes for Mario, really. I still in my head hear his voice as, whoever did the voice of Bowser in the Super Mario Super Show. I can't really do that voice myself, but that's how I hear him. And for that matter, it's still in my head, like, I still hear Mario's voice as Captain Blue Albano, his rendition. Because there always was, like, before in Mario 64, when Charles Martinet's, and actually I think Charles Martinet first did the Mario voice, I think it was actually in the Super Mario pinball table. I think that actually was the first instance of him doing Mario's voice before Mario 64, before any of the video games. Incidentally, Charles Martinet also did all of the character voices in Super Punch-Out on Super Nintendo, so here's a fun fact for you. And of course, later he was Arthur Max in Skyrim, famously, as well. But yeah, before the Charles Martinet, it's a me, Mario, there was always an understanding, like, of what Mario would sound like, that you saw, like, in all of the media. Like, even the Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach, the anime that was from Mario 1, that only came out in Japan, this is how he was played, certainly in Super Mario Super Show. Mario teaches typing, Hotel Mario, the cutscenes in that on CDI. All of them had this, and the Adventures of Super Mario 3 cartoon, they all had this understanding of what Mario sounded like. You can even throw in the 93 movie, how Bob Hoskins played it. Pretty much just playing Bob Hoskins, but with a Brooklyn accent. But yeah, it was always like this much more gruff Brooklyn accent that it was assumed Mario had. Hey, paisanos! It's the Super Mario Brothers Super Show! That's what Mario sounded like. And again, that was just kind of the common assumption before Mario 64, when it became the more high-pitched, sing-songy Charles Martinet version, and everybody just kind of bought it. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of discussion after that point, it's just, it became accepted. Alright, so anyway, we made it to Rose Town, and obviously there's some doings that transpire in here. So we want to go to the inn, but you see there's a couple of things we can do in downtown first. A couple of flower points there. No chests there. Oh yeah, this guy calls you out if you steal his treasure chests. Left, straight, right. Find something nice. I'm guessing there's some specific time that you can get that one. Let's check the weapon stuff first. Okay, so yeah, we want to get new shirt pants for both characters. We'll get the fearless skin since we don't have one yet. Fear attacks are not a huge issue, but just to have it anyway. Let's actually grab an extra true form pin while we're there too. And we can actually sell some of the stuff we don't need. So yeah, I'm not gonna need the hammer, the shirt, or the pants again. Extra pick-me-up and Sarah. And that'll do it. Oh, that's the chest on that other one. You can actually go down the chimney like a pipe and get that. That's how you do that. There we go, just a flower point. Every one of those helps. Maybe Grandpa could drag him back in while he's out there pumping water, just saying. Is that it? Ian? Nice little remix of the Super Mario World music here. As usual, you have to prove who you are by jumping. As we know from Donkey Kong, his last name was originally Jumpman, or perhaps Jumpman. Got changed to Mario. Ellis Island, I assume. Because as we learned from the '93 movie, his last name is in fact Mario. As is his first name. That's why they're the Mario Brothers, you see. You see what they did there. It's actually kind of realistic to have kids play with action figures and stuff. You know, introduce their own characters into something and just kind of mix and match. Like, I remember, I think there were the Mega Man, I did a video on them years ago, but the Mega Man figures from the Mega Man cartoon, the Bandai figures, were more or less the same scale as the Ninja Turtles figures, so I actually do, like, fairly late in the time that I was still regularly playing with action figures, I actually do remember, like, doing Mega Man TMNT crossovers. Stuff like that. You could do, like, He-Man and the 80s WWF figures, they were more or less the same scale, so yeah, you could do, like, He-Man wrestling crossovers. Alright, so we'll go ahead and save. I'll utilize 2 save slots in this one. I should have actually saved over this one to begin with. It's at the beginning of the game anyway. So, yeah, we'll save on that one for this session. Alternate. Alright, so we're gonna want to go into the woods now. First maze. And this is one of the more popular music tracks from this game. I don't know if it's I don't think it's one of my favorites from this game, but it is one of the most frequently discussed. Part 2. Actually, for this part, I should probably actually put an end to the beginning of that one too. I'm trying to remember. I don't actually think there is anything notable in any of these other restumps. Yeah. Just there. Yeah, looks. Again, I don't think there's anything special than any of those. Just launches you into the next section. Or I guess he actually launches you back up, but it opens the door behind him. This doesn't do anything. Ah, there's a lot of them. That one's sure enough, and use a Thunderbolt. Yeah, but a lot of these enemies are using poison, so. Got the antidote pin on both characters. This way. No. It just goes to the same place. Alright, so Gino obviously went that way, but we'll do the left. Basically, just following the directions that guy in town gave. I don't even remember what you get for following those directions, but we'll find out, obviously. Ah. So when you're in mushroom form, you can't move. But you do regain some hit points every turn, at least. It does wear off on its own after a couple of turns. And that's the other, along with the Scarecrow, the other effect that the true form can avoid. Alright, so we did 2 lefts, there's straight, there's right. Cameo from Rare Era Donkey Kong. Which pretty much was the Donkey Kong design until, like, last year, right? I know there's a lot of people complaining about that. I actually like the new design for Donkey Kong just fine. Because it does, like, it's closer to the real, what to me is the real Donkey Kong design. The original arcade version. But it also kind of pays homage to what, in modern times, is the most popular rendition. Donkey Kong Country version, so yeah, I like the design fine. I don't have an issue with it. But of course people like to complain, so... Alright, let's try that again. So, left. That's a nice hit from Mallow there. Or are they considering this left? Let's try that. Funsies. Left, left. Straight. This might be it, actually. I might have. Yeah, this is. I think this is what we were looking for. Bunch of chests. Odd coin. Regular coins. Flower point. Come on. More coins. Refill mushroom. So that's it. Yeah, I think that's what we were looking for. So now we'll find Gino. There he is. There you go. There it is. Oh, weird. Did he have his name changed in the remake for no good reason, too? I remember Mac the Knife did, but... Yeah, did Bowyer have his name changed? I don't remember now. Happy I am, yeah. I kind of imagine, like, the speech pattern, it's represented as, like, Sven Hoek. If you remember the Sven episode of Ren and Stimpy. Yeah, he is only you are Sven. Let's see, we got Gamey, Pure Cheesy, Monotony, Misery Date. Yeah, these are all boring games. They dropped the Bruce Lee reference in the remake, of course. Serve a higher power. It was me, Austin! It was me all along! Mallow trying to be badass over here. Kind of reminds me of that part of Final Fantasy IX in a fight where the party splits up to the four guardians and deciding, like, divides it up, like, just Eco and Garnet, the two girls want to go together, so they're paired up. Steiner and Vivi always have kind of gone together, so deciding puts them together. Freya and Amaranth go together, and then by process of elimination, Zidane is left with Quina, which was fine with me, because I love Quina, but yeah, Quina ends up having that, like, surprisingly badass line where the boss says something to the effect that he wasn't expecting them so soon, and Zidane says something like he didn't even have time to put a banquet together, and then Quina says, "You don't worry, we eat everything." In my headcanon, Quina's voice kind of sounded like Patrick from SpongeBob, I guess. So this is kind of a gimmick battle. Basically, after you do enough damage, he calls down 3 buttons, and he ends up, turn by turn, randomly locking either the Y, X, or A button, so effectively disabling either your attack, special, or item command. There's that. So yeah, you just locked up attacks. Geno does start with Geno Beam, which, for any newer Sea of Stars players, this basically works like the Sun Ball, Zale's Sun Ball in the Sea of Stars. Or really, the Sun Ball works like the Geno Beam. Hold down the button to charge it up. Let's actually give Geno a little bit of boost. Geno's main drawback is that he never gets particularly high in HP unless you just spend every level up to build his HP up. I guess if you had to, like, pick Final Fantasy type character classes. Mario's obviously a Mystic Knight, which is an archetype that Square kind of loved during this general time frame for their main characters. I know, it's been stated the Cloud was specifically built on that, but really Terra and Celeste and 6 were built on it, Chrono, and Chrono Trigger was effectively a Mystic Knight. Mario in this game, obviously. And not a main character in 9, but a major character who's there from almost the beginning of the game, Steiner, in 9. It really is just a regular knight for the most part, but if you have him with Vivi in the same party, then Steiner does kind of become a Mystic Knight because he does get the magic sword attacks that do elemental damage. But anyway, yeah, Mallow would be a red mage, I guess. He doesn't really have very good attack, and red mages typically have semi-decent attack power. But Mallow does use both white and black magic. Dino's probably more like a black mage. Any froggy drinks? Yeah, we do. Drop one of these. Yeah, Dino actually has better attack power than black mages usually have, but that's still probably the closest to his archetype. And then, spoiler for the other two player characters in this, Bowser's more like a warrior or knight, and Peach is effectively a white mage. Really. Oh. Flower box, that's a few extra flower points added to our total. Nope, wasn't that obvious? Come on, Mario, you know about the Star Road. You fall off it constantly when you're racing go-karts on it. Oh, sorry, that's Rainbow Road, isn't it? Screwed up my own joke. Was that hidden set of levels in Mario World? Was that Star Road, though? Mario probably should take offense to that. Gino was the strongest of it all. Of course, I guess if you pick the Mario doll, we just have two Marios, right? I mean, that kind of sort of is what happens in the Mario and Rabbids game, where you have, like, the Mario Rabbid and Luigi Rabbid and the Peach Mabbid. I actually never got Sparks of Hope. I should pick that one up at some point, because as far as I know, that one was always, like, well priced for some reason. It was almost released as a budget title, the sequel to Mario and Rabbids, but I do have the first one, Kingdom Battle. It's actually quite good as, like, a tactical, light tactical RPG. It was pretty fun. I was enjoying that. I'll have to go back and finish that and then pick up Sparks of Hope at some point. Alright, so let's check out. Yeah, Gino doesn't come with anything, and we don't have any weapons or armor to put on him yet, but we can put, we'll give him the Fearless pin. That does boost his defense and death there. Well, I mean, we're still in the forest here. We might want to do a true form pin, just because some of those do use that mushroom effect, and I don't think these stumps you can go in at all. Alright, so we can go back to Rosetown first. A bit of a happier mood here. Like on Seinfeld when Jerry thought he saved the Dream Cafe and was standing in front of the marble bust on the shelf. I am such a great guy. My mother was right. In case you didn't notice, I've not been alone here. Hey. Can I look at the camera? Say hello? No? Alright. That's actually where she was for pretty much all of the last part, too. Alright, so it's weapon for Gino, and I think he might automatically equip it, but... Oh, no, he doesn't. Okay. Yeah, put that on. You might just have to essentially reload that, so now we should be able to actually stay at the end, and this inn is actually free now for us, so that's nice. Oh, and there's Link. Yeah, our first cameo here. Here he plays the secret sound from Zelda. Yeah, eventually we'll find Samus from Metroid sleeping in a bed, too. If we came back here after we got Peach in the party, I wonder if it would be funny if Link woke up and said, "Well, excuse me, princess." Alright, we'll hit the shop here for a second. Yeah, I don't need anything from that side. Just because we have 2 of each of these, so we have an extra wake up pin. And extra fearless pin too, because fairly soon we will be getting last 2 characters. Alright, so head out of Rosetown and take a quick detour before we go to Moleville. I don't think you lose HP for falling in the lava here, but it sends you back to the beginning. Only we had Karibo's shoe here to get over these munchies. Yeah, those guys actually do cost you some coins if you follow them. But the whole reason just to go through that little area is just to unlock the later Yoshi's Island here. Alright, so a little mini game here, which I was never good at. Is this, yeah, you have to like alternate A and B. You can't get a little speed boost. And this isn't even like the kind of thing because you have to alternate buttons. It's not even the kind of thing you can cheat by using a turbo controller like my SD pad here. Not getting it right at all. Alright, let's see how we do. Probably not well. Alright, let's give it 2 more tries for now. The problem is, they tell you in the instructions to do it to the beat of the music, but the beat only goes for like the first few seconds of the song, and then it changes, so it just screws you up. That's my excuse anyway. Okay, give it 1 more try for now. Move on if not. Nah. Alright, I'll practice that off camera, perhaps. Let's come back to this later. Actually, do we need to go back through this? Oh, you can just exit from the island itself once you unlock it. Yeah, there we go. Alright, to Moleville. And of course, Sea of Stars did a major tribute to this part of the game with their mole town. And even the music was a little bit of an homage in the Sea of Stars mole town. Alright, so we got some new weapons here. Actually, the work pants are pretty good. Full inventory. Alright. Look for new stuff first. Alright, so we can get rid of the knock-knock shell. I never had the heart to sell the froggy stick because Frog Fuchsius made it. But, yeah, otherwise I never felt compelled to, like, be a weapon collector in this game like I was in Chrono Trigger or games like that. Most games I don't hoard weapons and stuff in, but for some reason I always like doing that in Chrono Trigger. Let's get rid of these pure waters, and then we'll actually use that flower box. Got a couple min mushrooms. They seem like okay mushrooms to me, but Yeah, we'll just replace all of our regular mushrooms with those. Yeah, I don't seem that good. Alright, flower box. I think that was 5 flower points, that's pretty nice. Alright, so we need to go into the mines. Nope. Bowser again. Yeah, good timing. Actually, just before we do that, I was thinking you actually had to go in from the top, but yeah, just see what up here says. Was there a chest somewhere up here? I'm trying to remember. Probably not. Alright. Sorry, just swap my earphone because the battery's dying. So yeah, I'm this backwards, obviously. I'll put it in its correct ear. Alright, that'll work. I don't remember what that is or where it is. I seem to get the time hit on Pino's weapon to work. I think you're actually supposed to do this to advance, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Rocco again. There's a kit. I actually don't know what I did differently. Yeah, Mallow is a little bit in the category of Marley from Chrono Trigger, in that he is like the one character that gradually becomes less and less useful as the game goes on. There's still specific situations, but like as a healer, once we get Peach in the party, or Toadstool in this game, in this version, she's like a better healer than Mallow, so that starts to kind of diminish his utility somewhat. There's still a few parts where he's not that to use, but overall, once you get Peach in the party, she kind of supersedes Mallow to some degree. And I know these guys take barely any damage from physical hits, though. Or the Thunderbolt them. Thanks. Got him. Yeah, just for fun. Let's see if we can see what Croco here is thinking. I guess it was the time to jump the books. That's alright. No freebie, unfortunately. I stole our items right before I could refill the magic points. Enough for another Geno beam. Flower box. Alright, so now I have to go back to the guy at that dead end. Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. Alright everyone, let's mosey, as Cloud said later. I don't remember where the hidden item is. The first guy was talking about. And you can't go through there. You do get a frog point, right? Take it. Down there. Thinking about it, I should do Final Fantasy VII on this show at some point. It'll probably be a little while after finishing this game. I probably will wait a little while to do another long-form multi-parter. Like I'll do, short one-session games, or at most do something like one of the versions of Pirates again, where it's at most 2 sessions, but maybe the next, long-form game, whenever I get to do one of those, maybe that'll be FF7, the original version, PlayStation 1 version. I'll even literally play the PlayStation 1 version. Just so we get the original form of lines like, "This guy are sick." There's much you can do to avoid a fight with the 4 bombs. Yep. That's a rather annoying enemy configuration. I forgot how long the mines are. This is a pretty long dungeon for this point in the game. Alright, so what do you have to get to him? I really didn't feel like fighting this battle. Alright, it's not gonna let us. Yeah, I guess you just sneak up behind him. Each time he throws them out, the bombs get bigger. Nice block in there. Alright, CM Punk. Oh, I guess he doesn't take damage when he's behind those big bombs? I don't know. We'll go back to Frog Pond to refill those after we're done with Moleville. So, Punchinello is, he's dead, right? And these three just get comically covered in soot, but I mean, Punchinello was crushed and then exploded. I don't think he's gonna walk that off. When you think about it, that's actually kind of dark for a Mario game, isn't it? Alright, we got our next star. Is this the second one or third one? Yeah, that actually cleans us off, too. Yeah, incidentally, while this little cutscene's going, here's my, Mario RPG guide, which is, like most of these SNES era players' guides, it's seen better days. But, yeah, this is my, my OG one, which has some cool character graphics and stuff in it, and it's actually pretty well done as the walkthrough itself is concerned, so it's actually a 3rd star. I should use a tape or something on that, shouldn't I? So yeah, that lives in the filing cabinet in my game room, which is over there. I guess I have a filing cabinet in my game room for various players' guides and such. Alright, so we have a mini game here. A or Y to break, B to jump, X for accelerate with mushrooms in your inventory. Not your inventory, it's like within the mini game, the mushrooms you pick up. This is actually a fun little mini game. Obviously, kind of using, it looks like, the graphics engine from Mario Kart. Certainly the Mode 7 effect in use here. But this you can replay to try to beat your score too. Basically you want to slow down on the turns and then accelerate when you have enough room on a straightaway, which I did there. There's a good one. Scratch. If you go off the track, you'll lose seconds. It doesn't like make you lose the mini game or anything. You can't actually lose it. Alright, so now go side-scrolling for the second half. Wrong path there and there. Ah, I missed that one. Rear view, and then there's another last. I believe there's 4 sections. There's a last side-scrolling section as well. If I remember right. Not quite enough room to pull that off with that mushroom. Kind of cool effect when you come outside and you get that like flash of light. that's the end of it. Gee, I wonder how this is gonna play out. Enlightenment. Baby carrier. Gotta admit, that's some cute ass shit. Let's get a work pants. Let's do that for now. Alright, so, just looking at the clock, I was thinking we'd play through Booster Tower today, but I think this is actually a good stopping point that we're at now. So I think I'll go ahead and save the game. I'll pick up with Booster Tower next time, which will be what gives us our next two characters. So anyway, that's DanPlays for now. So thanks for joining again for session number 2, and we'll come back with part 3, Booster Tower, and what comes beyond that. So we'll see you again. We'll have our last 2 characters, and yeah, that'll be a good part. So we'll see you again. Have a good night.